Greetings, beloved beings, fellow travelers on this planet, and guests from other realms. My name is Izobel Freeman, and I'm going to be doing a general reading for the collective for January 28th through February 10th, 2018. Hope you all had a profound new moon in Capricorn, and that you made beautiful wishes for the culmination of the latest eclipse cycle. The total lunar eclipse is coming up on Wednesday, so here's hoping we'll see amazing results start to manifest in the coming weeks. Before I get started with the reading, as I've said in previous readings, I'm doing my best to give you all a basic astrological forecast in addition to reading cards, because we often get messages regarding the overall energetic climate, and the cards themselves also have so many astrological correspondences. I want you all to have context for these, so here we go. Today, our quick-witted friend Mercury, the planet of the mind, of communication, and of technology, forms two aspects. The first is a challenging square with Uranus, and the second is a more harmonious sextile with Chiron. Uranus is the planet of radical revolution, so when he and Mercury square off, it could mean things get shaken up in our lives when it comes to how we're thinking about things or how we go about communicating. Unexpected news, changes in travel plans, or feelings of overwhelm and anxiety may occur as our minds and our adaptability are challenged. It's a great time to stay heart-centered and give ourselves and others a break. If you do have to get things done, however, just be sure to double-check any messages before you hit send, friends. Any miscommunication should be alleviated by that Mercury-Chiron sextile, but if we can avoid unnecessary drama in the first place, let's do that. Speaking of that supportive Chiron sextile, those of you who have been following my readings for a while now know that Chiron is an icy minor planet that orbits the Sun between Saturn and Uranus. Chiron in astrology usually represents our deepest pain, which we've come into this life to transform. When Chiron and Mercury are in harmony, there's potential for healing misunderstandings, and whatever challenging energy is brought up by the Mercury-Uranus square may just be turned to our advantage if we're open to looking at problems as potential blessings in disguise. We'll get a relative astrological break to process all this before Wednesday the 31st, when it's the full moon in Leo. And not only is it our second full moon this month, making it a rare blue moon, it's also a total lunar eclipse, making it an even more rare blue blood moon. And if that weren't enough, it's also a supermoon, meaning the moon is at the closest point in its orbit to the Earth, making it appear larger in the sky. The full moon in Cancer on the 1st was also a supermoon, so we're getting treated again to a big, beautiful display, especially for those of us in the Western US, who will be able to see the eclipse early in the morning on Wednesday. A super blue blood moon hasn't been visible in the US for over 150 years, so I definitely encourage anyone who is able to see it to go outside and experience this amazing event. Every full moon is an opposition between the Sun and the Moon, meaning they're on opposite sides of the wheel of the zodiac, giving us a chance to balance our outward and inwardly directed energies. This full moon being a lunar eclipse means it's going to be really powerful. Eclipses not only boost the energy of a full moon, but they also bring transformation and a type of cosmic reset when it comes to our collective development. This lunar eclipse is highly focused on all things divine feminine. The Sun and Venus are conjunct in Aquarius, and they're opposing the Moon conjunct dwarf planet Ceres in Leo. I haven't really talked about Ceres in previous readings, just because there are so many minor planets and asteroids in astrology, and it would get very confusing if I included all of them in every basic forecast. Chiron is the one exception due to his very personal relationship to all our deepest wounds. But it's important to mention Ceres this time, because she and the Moon are almost exactly conjunct for this lunar eclipse. Ceres is the largest object in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. In mythology, Ceres is the Roman goddess of agriculture and motherhood, making her energy all about feeding humanity as well as mothering them. The Moon and Ceres are an interesting pairing for this full moon, because they represent feminine aspects that do not necessarily need to have anything to do with relating to men. The Moon is about our deepest instincts and emotions, and the nourishing and nurturing qualities of Ceres are more about the mother-child relationship. When these two are opposed by the Sun, which, in addition to representing our public persona, can also be a stand-in for male relationships, typically ones involving power or authority, it makes for an interesting contrast. As I mentioned, The Sun is paired up with Venus for this eclipse, and Venus can represent a feminine archetype that is less motherly and more about beauty and sensuality. Add to all this the fact that another minor planet, Juno, the wife of Jupiter, is also in Aquarius near Venus, and you have a fascinating mix of feminine energy. The archetypes of wife and lover are with the Sun on one side of this full moon's balancing act, while the primordial moon, a sorceress in her own right, meets with Mother Goddess Ceres on the other side. Meanwhile, Mother Earth herself steps in and eclipses the entire event by casting her shadow on the full moon and blocking the Sun's light. This eclipse is going to be pivotal in determining how we all manifest our divine feminine qualities from here on out, and how we balance relating to ourselves and others. Which archetype will we choose to identify with? Or can we learn to give them all an equal voice, both internally and externally, in our own lives and on the world stage? No matter how we present sexually, the divine feminine within all of us needs to be seen, recognized, and honored if we're to evolve as a human collective. Also on Wednesday, Mercury leaves down-to-earth Capricorn for visionary Aquarius. With the Sun, Venus, and now Mercury in the realm of the water bearer, our entire demeanor may shift towards more forward-thinking and idealistic priorities and pursuits. When Mercury is in Aquarius, we become more innovative and open-minded in our thinking. It's a great time to visualize, to plan, and to invent new things. This change of mind will help us process that incredible eclipse energy while we take another relative astrological break for a couple of days. On Thursday the 1st, however, the day before those of us in the US will be finding out if a groundhog sees its shadow, we can wish our pagan friends worldwide a blessed Imbolc or Brigid, which is a traditional Gaelic festival ushering in the beginning of spring and celebrating fertility and rebirth. Imbolc marks the midpoint between the winter solstice and the spring equinox, so its actual astronomical date does vary, but officially it starts at sundown on the 1st and lasts throughout the day on the 2nd. Then, on Saturday the 3rd, Mercury will sextile Mars. There's a lot of Mercury energy this week, and when he plays nice with Mars, the planet of personal will, of motivation and aggression, our minds can get a boost of extra speed and stamina. Our will to succeed will be enhanced, so Saturday's a great day to get to work on anything that may have seemed too challenging in the past. On Sunday the 4th, Sweet Lady Venus, the planet of love and fortune, forms an uncomfortable square with Big Daddy Jupiter, the planet of expansion. While this might seem like a bad thing on the surface, because these two planets are generally friendly, this transit is mostly about making sure we don't overdo it when it comes to spending, partying, and other indulgences. Both Venus and Jupiter love the finer things in life, so if you're on a budget, or a diet, or if you're trying to get serious business done next Sunday, you might have to summon up some extra willpower. On Tuesday the 6th, Venus sextiles Uranus. This is a fun and flirty transit that may spark the need for creativity and excitement when it comes to love, luxury, or anything artistic. Again, if you're on a budget, you're going to want to find small ways to spice up your relationships, your wardrobe, or your home decor. Your social skills may also get a boost, so Tuesday is a great day to get out there and meet new people, even if you're normally shy. After that, we'll get a break till Saturday the 10th, when Venus leaves the idealistic and future-minded sign of Aquarius and enters sensitive and spiritual Pisces. Venus in Pisces takes love to a whole new level, becoming more compassionate, more accepting, and more universal in her affections. Forgiveness may come easier if there are hurts we've been carrying around that we need to let go of, and any spiritual or creative pursuits will be blessed with intuitive genius. Take this opportunity to really connect with your heart center, dear ones. The world needs a lot more kindness. Also on Saturday the 10th, the Sun forms a square with Jupiter. Like Sunday's Venus-Jupiter square, this is a good time to practice some self-control and moderation. The Sun is all about our self-image, and when Jupiter's involved, we can have a tendency to be overconfident, or to bite off more than we can chew when it comes to obligations. Make a point to enjoy the day in small, sustainable ways that will not come back to haunt you later. Don't give up lasting joy for a temporary thrill, and your future self will thank you. Wow, lots of Mercury and Venus in these 2 weeks, and that divine feminine lunar eclipse is going to be astounding. I'll bet our friends in spirit have lots to share with us, so let's get to the cards, shall we? As I do in every reading, I'm going to begin by lighting my little candle for my beautiful spirit kitty Pinky, who was in physical with me until 2015 and was and still is my greatest spiritual teacher. Okay, everyone. Wow, so much going on. New moon was so wonderful. Making some really good intentions, hoping they're going to come to fruition in very real ways for this full moon, this eclipse, this blue blood crazy. Like, there's so much going on with this particular full moon. And it's a really nice bookend from that the full moon that we had in Cancer at the beginning of the year. Both have this really super divine feminine goddess energy, goddess rising, stuff that we really, really need to look at now, things that we really need to address in our lives, whether or not we identify as female. We all have divine feminine energy in us. And so this is going to be really a big theme, and it has been already. You can see stuff happening on the world stage, and it's been a long time coming. So more of that. I'm really excited for this reading. I'm going to begin, as I do in every reading, by flipping this beautiful angel tarot deck over to see what we have for our overall energy. Those of you just joining us for the first time, welcome. Just FYI, all of these decks are pre-shuffled before I read, and you'll see how it goes as we go along. Yay! Okay, overall energy card. Well, she's back from last time, the moon. The moon was in second position in the spread last time, and now she is heading up the entire spread as the overall energy. Perfect for this reading. The full moon highly charged with this really, again, all sorts of different aspects of the divine feminine. It's almost like all of her different faces have come to play. The overall energy card here, beginning with the number 18, numerologically 18 reduces to a 9. You add the 1 and the 8 together and you get a 9, which stands for the end of a cycle. And this makes a lot of sense, as in last reading I was talking about this lunar eclipse being sort of the culminating final fruition of the eclipse cycle that began with, I believe it was the lunar eclipse right before the Great American Solar Eclipse. But this is kind of a bookend to that, and you're going to see the eclipse cycle start over again with the coming eclipse in Aquarius on the 15th. But yeah, spoilers. The moon, Archangel Haniel, important psychic insights, events behind the scenes, and release fears that hold you back. We were talking about this in second position last week as just needing this now more than ever. You can see in the illustration this theme of balance, this theme of balancing both sides. And with this full moon, this lunar eclipse being that balancing between all sorts of divine feminine aspects, it's funny. You have the tame, I pointed this out last time, you have the tame dog, the collie, on this side of the stream. You have the wolf on this side of the stream, the more wild aspects. And so you could look at this as this opposition. You've got the sun, and you've got Venus conjunct with the sun on one side of this lunar eclipse. You've also got Juno, the wife archetype. The sort of, I don't talk about the minor planets too much in my readings just because it gets really confusing. There are a lot of them, and if you follow them all, the astrology section in the beginning would just last forever. But you've got sort of the divine feminine aspects on one side that relate to men, that relate to the masculine here in the world, that define themselves in some way as being either attractive to men or needing to have a relationship with men. And when I talk about men, I talk about whoever is fulfilling the male, role in any relationship, whether or not you identify as male. So, and on the other side, this idea of Ceres and the moon conjunct over here on the side in Leo. So you've got an Aquarius powwow and you've got a Leo powwow. And the Ceres moon side is not only about the sides of women that kind of correspond to this moon card, the psychic, the deep emotional insights, the subconscious realm that the moon is sort of presides over. The moon, and I guess I should say this now, this full moon's really super portentous, because not only do we have these groupings where you're dealing with Ceres, the mother figure, the nurturer, the nourisher of humanity. She's the grain goddess from which all of the food comes from. She basically keeps humanity alive in more ways than one, metaphorically and physically, by providing food on the planet. And the moon has a lot to do with that, providing the cycles of, say, the tides and the rhythms that many living things live their lives to. We're all very deeply connected to the moon and its influence on the earth. And so there's no telling how far those influences, the moon's forces on the earth, go in creating the rhythms that nurture us, that keep us going on the planet. Not only that women's fertility, highly connected to the 28-day moon cycle. Ceres also definitely lending a metaphor into that. And so we've got this beautiful goddess figure here talking about balancing things that maybe we don't know how to balance. Maybe on one hand, we have our spiritual, our emotional, our inner life, plus our relationships to our children and our creation. Ceres is a creative force as well. So if you don't actually have kids, you also have artistic pursuits and projects, and stuff that is more of like your divine purpose, that you really want to know what your reason is for being. And that reason could have nothing to do with how you relate to the other, how you relate to, say, the divine, if you're a divine feminine, how you relate to the divine masculine in your life. And so it's almost like you have concerns, inner concerns that are self-contained on one side, and inner concerns or outer-based concerns that have to do with relating to others. This doesn't have to be like a male versus female thing. It could be about your relationship to others, how much you're giving away, how much you're doing to cope in the public world, in the world of obligations to others and how you relate, and the world of how much you give to yourself and you nurture yourself within. So yeah, I want to talk about the Neptune aspects, and I want to talk about even more for this full moon, but I also want to get into the reading. I know you guys are itching to do that, but there will be more about this full moon and more about this moon card. But for now, know that it's important, especially on full moon, to go within, to see what your guides have to tell you, to really open yourself up to hearing the wisdom of your divine feminine aspects, all of them. The ones that relate to others and the ones who are sort of wild and free on their own. And to let those waters all commingle together within you, in the psychic ocean of your, subconscious and your deep emotional self, and see what wisdom may come up from the depths to help you and release those fears that hold you back. It's happening on the world stage. You're seeing lots of women coming forth and telling their stories in ways that just haven't been happening in the past and haven't been safe to happen in the past. So this super big deal. The 9 having to be being the end of a cycle. Hopefully we're at the end of a cycle of the way things used to be, and we're beginning a new cycle of all the qualities of divine feminine actually becoming valued to ourselves and to others. And so we'll see how that plays out. Yeah, just hold that thought on the whole Neptune thing. I will talk about it. I promise I will get to it. But for now, I really want to get into the reading because the guides are just pushing me. They're like, stop talking. But there's a lot. There really is a lot for this divine feminine stuff going on. And I want you all to know about it. So I'm very excited. The spread I am shuffling for, and you can see me sort of shuffling in this very loose, intuitive way. that allows cards to just come out sort of their own accord, just sneak out. I am going to pull them as they come out on their own and lay out the spread that I call my quick cross spread. And I know those of you who've been with me for a while, recently it hasn't been that quick, but it has been dense with information. First position is recent past into present. And I'm really hoping we get some good news going into the spread, because the spreads recently have been sort of challenging and sort of keep the faith energy, and we've been tasked with holding on when things don't look so good. Let's see what happens with this one. Second position in the spread, I'm going to form a sort of horizontal and then a vertical, making up the quick cross. Second position is present into near future. These cards are often very closely related. Let's see here. And sometimes the guides will give us either more information sort of on the present, because, you know, past into present and present in near future are very much still sort of in the present. And sometimes what they'll do is they'll give us a choice. These cards will be sort of opposites or a forking of probabilities that we can choose from. So let's see what happens this time. The vertical of the cross is going to be mind or higher mind, heart, and body subconscious wisdom. Last time we were quite greedy and we got 2 cards for the present and near future position and 2 cards for the body subconscious wisdom position. So let's see if they can be more concise this time, or whether we're going to have to get clarification. As I shuffle, I am inviting in all of my non-physical friends, my beautiful angels, my spirit guides, anyone who has passed on, who is dear and beloved, and anyone in non-physical who we wouldn't even recognize. Maybe they're an entity form that we wouldn't recognize here in 3D, but they are benevolent and light-based, and they want to help us in our journey here on planet Earth, in our human family. Okay. Let's see if we can get a heart card. We got a mind, or this one wants to just float off the top, so I'm going to let it. And body subconscious wisdom. And this position is what I like to call the help position. This is what can help us on our journey, whether that be spiritual, mental, emotional, or physical aid. And sometimes that help card is a caution. Last time we did sort of get a cautionary card where they want to draw attention to something that we may have not been paying attention to that we really need to focus on. Something big is coming out of this eclipse, friends. I can really feel it. This is gigantic. Okay, which one do you... Oh, this one. Two big full moons, all about divine feminine energy. You know, many people have called certain years the year of the woman in the past. The media makes a big joke about it, that, oh yeah, this is the year of the woman. And oh yeah, we've said that before. We've said that in multiple years in the past. But I really do get that feeling about 2018, is that 2018 is the year that divine feminine finally gets to take her rightful place in the world. And she's been there before. It's just not in the last few thousand years when we've been playing this game of patriarchy and hierarchy. Look at that. This last position is what some people like to call the outcome position. I like to call it the most probable direction that we're going to be moving in, because I never like to say anyone can predict the future, just because we are all creating our futures from moment to moment through law of attraction as sovereign divine beings. However, there is a general direction that the collective has, by agreement, like subconsciously or on a spiritual level, we're all agreeing to play this game on planet Earth. And the game on planet Earth is kind of going in a specific direction. And it's more like the general weather pattern. So you personally have every freedom to manifest your own destiny within that general weather pattern. But, by and large, we may be moving in a similar direction. But that doesn't mean you can't control your own individual destiny. It's nice to know if it might rain, and you might want to put on a raincoat. All right, I'm shaking with this energy, really. Very excited. Let's see about present. Recent past, present. Well, friends, the star has returned. She was with us a couple of readings back, and whenever I pull the star card, it's always highly personal for me. This is, if I could identify with any card in this Angel Tarot deck, this would be my card. The star card is heavily correlated with the sign of Aquarius. You can see this water bearer aspect to her. I personally am an Aquarius, and this gives me sort of an inside joke, little nod to the coming solar eclipse in Aquarius. And again, spoilers, I'm leaping ahead. There's a lunar eclipse that we've got to celebrate right now, but I get to look forward to the solar eclipse on the 15th because it is highly connected to my personal chart astrologically, and my own destiny has been taking some pretty mythological turns. And so the star card showing up here is just really encouraging to me. I'm very, very excited about this. Archangel Jophiel, happy times. Make positive, optimistic, long-term plans. You are on the right path. This is sort of, remember how we got the Sun card at the end of the last reading that was just letting us know it was going to be joyful. All of these hardships that we're living through right now are going to be for a reason. They're going to pay off in some beautiful, fulfilling way. The star card is definitely of that same energy, almost like the divine feminine reflection of the Sun card. Because as you know, maybe you don't, but as most of you know, the Sun is a star and belongs in this star family. 17 reduces to an 8, and the 8 is the number that points to our divine eternal nature. If you take an 8 and you turn it on its side, you get that wonderful infinity symbol. And so 8 is the number of great good fortune coming from all directions. I hope you can see here above her head is this 8-pointed star. It sort of looks like the compass rose that you see on a map. So signifying good fortune coming from all directions, the cardinal directions and the diagonals. And so letting us know all of the stuff that we have been putting up with, all of the things that we've been hero-upping about. The 7 of fire and the 9 of fire that we got for last reading, just letting us know to keep the faith, to believe in ourselves, to stand up for what we value most, for what we care about, and to know that good things will come from our dedication to the cause. Jophiel is the angel of beauty. She is the one that gives you appreciation and joy when you see beautiful things in your life. And you see this gorgeous landscape that she stands in. She is taking these never-ending, ever-flowing jugs of water and pouring them out. And one, you can't see it, but below here must be some sort of body of water that she is pouring this one into. And in here, she pours the water on the land. And traditionally, it splits up into 5 streams, which signify our 5 senses and our human experience here on planet Earth. But this stream goes into the waters, the cosmic waters of our subconscious, of our spiritual realm, the waters I was talking about that you saw in the moon card. So definitely more of that energy. And these 2 jugs being poured into 2 different places signifies our ability to master and to have joy on multiple levels of being. So the spiritual level down here signified by the unseen body of water, and the real taste it, see it, touch it, smell it, hear it, enjoy it, physical realm. So just giving us a nod that beauty is here. Beauty is here if we choose to look for it. Beauty is here, and success and happy times there is some measure of victory feeling of this card. And this may really point to some of the victories that we've had, as you've seen the divine feminine rising up and claiming victories in the public sphere. And that is a big deal. And other types of victories where people are starting to be listened to, people's pain, people being able to speak out about different injustices in the world, and some others finally giving ear and listening. And also the happy things that are going on in the world that don't get reported in the news. Frankly, the news, you probably already know this, but they like to make a fuss about drama and pain and tragedy, and it gets them page views, and you understand why they do it. It's a marketing ploy, but there's so much beauty going on. There's so many cool inventions out there. There's neat scientific breakthroughs that are going on. There's artists trying to do amazing stuff. There's cool stories coming out. There's awesome movies. We are overwhelmingly moving forward, even though there's a veneer of chaos and there's a veneer of, it's almost like all of the last vestiges of the hatred that we've been trying to transform are sort of sitting on the surface like an oil slick. And this is what that moon card was talking about, events occurring behind the scenes. And hopefully those of you who are plugged in and intuiting what I'm saying can feel the beauty that is rising up behind the scenes, no matter what it looks like on the surface. So this is very, very encouraging. I'm really excited about it. Let's see present into near future. 3 of Fire. Abundance. Things look very good. Have patience at this time. Make long-term plans. Look at this. Make long-term plans. Make positive, optimistic long-term plans here with the Star. Make long-term plans here with the 3 of Fire. You have this beautiful fire card here. Fire cards are all about alchemical transformation and the fire of passion of creation. So passion to create might mean that you have a project, or that you have an invention, or that you have a purpose or a goal that you externally in the world that you know that you need to accomplish. But also the alchemical fire might be creating you, a new way of being that's more beautiful, a new way of manifesting yourself in the world. This is really, really big. 3 is that number of divine creation. I've talked about this in the past, where you have a 1, and that's the first being or your soul. And then you have a 2 when you come together in relationship with another. And that 2 is a reflective number. It's like a reflection of the soul. So it's opposites coming together in partnership. And then the 3 is when the 2 come together, and through cross-pollination or actual breeding, they create some sort of progeny, either a real child, or they create some sort of collaborative project together, some new way of being. And you can see here this protagonist in the story, here with her dragon companion, one other who has been able to understand her and to get behind what she wants to do in the world. And these 2 are going on a quest together. And you can see this volcano in the distance. You can see this, it looks kind of scary and imposing, but it's also the alchemical fire that may bring about something awesome in their life experience. Either it will transform them, it will make them stronger in some way when they get to the top and they achieve their goal, or when they, defeat the enemy, or whatever it is they're trying to do. Or maybe it will be some sort of really cool transformative fire with which that they can transform the external world. So either the hero is transformed, sometimes both, many times both. The hero is transformed within, and also the world is transformed in some sort of amazing, complete reinvention. And this is the seed of a hero journey. But yes, they're talking about abundance. They're talking about still having patience, just like those two fire cards that we got last time that were telling us to kind of keep the faith, believe in yourself, stand, defend, protect that which you've created. Have patience at this time. Things are developing, and do make long-term plans. Both these cards, when they say long-term plans, it really just, I've been talking about Saturn in Capricorn for a while. Saturn went into Capricorn right around the winter solstice in December. And Saturn in Capricorn is all about making things real, all about producing tangible 3D results, and also making long-term plans, because Saturn is the Lord of Time. He is great Father Time, and that's his role in concretizing spirit, bringing spirit down into space, 3D space-time, and making something real, quote unquote real. And Saturn's going to be in Capricorn for the next 3-ish years, and making long-term plans, that may be making plans now during this time to think about what you want in the next 3 years. It's really pivotal. In fact, 2018 through 2020 is a big, giant, you're going to hear people talking about it on the internet, is a big, giant sort of energetic portal for humanity. And lots of interesting things are happening in 2020 and into 2022. The USA is having its Pluto return, which is crazy town. People don't live long enough to have Pluto go a full circle in their chart and come back to the place where it originally was, but countries do. So here in the US, between the energy of that crazy total solar eclipse that we had and the stuff that's going on with Pluto return in Capricorn and Saturn and Jupiter hanging out in, Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto hanging out in Capricorn, there's a lot of transformative, there's a lot of reinvention, and that may be the reason for all the craziness on the surface. And so we do really need to be optimistic, have patience, make those long-term plans for at least the next 3-year period. Just kind of take a moment if you can, maybe for full moon, maybe if that's the night you want to go in and really visualize yourself and how you're going to integrate all your divine feminine aspects and where you want to be in the next 3 years. That's really, I'm getting this off of these two cards because these are both long-term plans, and we have 3 of alchemical fire, and Pluto is definitely the lord of alchemical fire. Pluto is has been in Capricorn for a while now and will continue to be until sort of the mid-2020s, 2024, when he'll go into Aquarius, and then maybe we'll see what the 2020s are all about. And then we'll have 2020 vision about what's been going on with us for the last few years. Let's see, speaking of 2020 vision, what Mind or Higher Mind has to say. All right, Page of Earth. Scholarly, dependable, patient, and successful. Good news about financial matters. Wanting to do something more challenging, a new area of study. Well, yeah. Talk about, I was just talking about all of that Capricorn energy. Capricorn is just this sign of, let's make it real. Let's put the rubber to the road. Let's produce results. And the Page of Earth always has that energy. She always feels like, okay, we're going to make long-term plans, we're going to be pragmatic about things, and we want to challenge ourselves, challenge our minds. And this also feels like that Mercury energy that's going on this week. Heavy, heavy Mercury energy this week. Not only do we have the Mercury aspects for today, one sort of challenging and one a little more supportive so it can help us get through the challenging aspect. Mercury's going to Aquarius, so that may be putting us on a new path where we want to do something more visionary. And maybe those long-term plans are going to have to do with this more visionary thing that we want to do, or that we want to pursue. Mercury also teaming up with Mars at the end of this week to give us that extra boost to maybe find that new area of study. Amazing. Very, very cool. I love how we've been getting a lot of mind energy, but we've also been getting a lot of earth energy. And so guides always want us to know that, yeah, all this airy-fairy stuff and going within and yeah, figuring out how you're relating to your divine feminine and integrating all your aspects and meditating and really getting heart-centered and figuring yourself out on a spiritual level. What's in this for us on an earthly level? And they always want to give us this nod. And they want to let us know that all of the spiritual stuff, all of the alchemical transformation that we're going through right now has this earthly result. There's a lot of spiritual, belief systems that want to talk about how earthly concerns are not spiritual. They're worldly, they're lesser, they're somehow of lesser concern or lower. And yeah, you can look at it that way, but they're also the reason why we're here. And so on our minds now is having to make long-term plans, wanting to reinvent ourselves in a way that not only challenges us, but reinvents the world in some visionary way. That's very Aquarian energy. But wanting to put that Aquarian energy through the crucible of our inspired passion and make it real. Make it really sustainable and doable and get real results out of it that are tangible and that satisfy our earthly five senses. I mean, there's a reason why this water of spirit is being poured here on the earth. We're here on earth for a reason. So yeah, totally valid to have those I'm going to get mine like earthly goals. Very cool. Let's see where the heart is. The moon, back again. She really wants us to focus on these important psychic insights. It's really great that she was here in the near future and now squarely in the heart and the overall energy. Not an accident. Events behind the scenes, release fears that hold you back. We really, again, the guides can't tell us enough that it's important for us to choose, and this is a heart-based decision, choose joy, choose to see the beauty in the world, choose to focus more than ever on the good things that are happening behind the scenes. Take your eyes off of the ugly. Enhance the beauty in your life. Enhance the appreciation of things in your life. Sit down and Abraham Hicks talks a lot about this, and there sometimes I like to listen to lots of different teachers, and I get my information from lots of different sources. I take a really big buffet approach to my belief system, and I really like to upgrade my beliefs. I really like to replace parts of my psychic software often, depending on whether or not my beliefs are manifesting what I want in my life. And Abraham Hicks talks a lot about this idea that whatever it is that you focus on becomes magnetic. Whatever it is that you decide to appreciate will draw more of that joy and appreciation towards itself. This is just basic law of attraction 101. And if one of the things they like to say a lot is write down lists of positive aspects. Write down things that you appreciate. Even if there's not much in your life right now that you do appreciate. If a lot of the things are up for grabs for you, if you're going through a lot of hardship right now, it's still really worth your while to focus on what is happy. Focus on what is positive and what looks good in your life. Focus on if you have maybe just one person that you really, really love, or you have that one thing in your life that's really going right. If you can sit down and you can journal about that thing or that person, you say, I love this about them. This is why I love this about them. And go into heavy detail until you are just feeling so charged up with that appreciation, that love, that beauty, and you're going through life looking for things to love rather than things to be angry about or things to not appreciate. If you're looking at the events behind the scenes, the little things that are beautiful that are going on, even under the surface of the oil slick of crazy crap that's going on the world stage, and if you can use that to hold in your heart the beauty of how things really are and how they are really supposed to be. All other joy will be magnetically attracted to you. You really will start to become an attractor of more amazing things. Yes, you will still have to go through the crucible of whatever hero journey that you're on. We're in this world for a reason, to go through contrast and to grow. So yeah, every once in a while, life is going to still throw you a curveball. But overall, if you focus on these beautiful things that are happening and you release fear and you choose love, this is the point of the moon card. I know this is a really long rant on my part, but the point of the moon card being in the heart center is going into that divine feminine, which is your deepest intuition and your emotions, and knowing that your emotions have power. And if you can focus your emotions on this positivity and on this excitement that you have for a new endeavor, on your knowing, your inner knowing that things are supposed to work out for you, that they're supposed to manifest into reality, and you can release the fear and choose to appreciate any little thing, whatever it is, even if there's just one thing in your life that's going right. If you can magnify that and get joyful over that for more hours in the day, your life is going to look like this. Your life is going to look like this. You're going to be excited about the future. Something is going to come through. And that's what all those hero up cards were about last time, is that you need to keep that faith even while things are crappy, right? So moon card, definitely in the heart. We've got to, for this full moon eclipse, this is like a cosmic, like I said in the astrology section, it's like a cosmic reset button. It's going to really reset our entire way of being if we let it, if we allow it. We always have free will. So of course it could just be, oh, there's something happening in the sky. There's always something happening in the sky. There's always a full moon, or there's always here's another eclipse. Yeah, there are a couple eclipses every year, but some of them are portals. Some of them are real opportunities for us to rewire our psyches if we say yes. If you choose to get on this train, joy is yours, and it will come. And you will be able to release those fears and be a more love-based being. And who knows what can happen after that. I heard this wonderful, I'm probably going to misquote this. I was listening to some podcast, something on astrology, I think. But someone said, your ability to manifest improvements or in better things in your life is dependent on your ability to tolerate change without fear. So how much change could you possibly tolerate in your life? If suddenly the tables flipped in your life on all those things that you wanted to move, would that be too much of a shock to your system? Would you not be able to believe it? And would it inspire fear in you? Or, oh, something's too much is changing at once and I don't know what to do and I'm afraid. Or would it inspire excitement? So things can only change in your life at the pace that you can release fears about change. That's a big deal. Good stuff from this moon card. Ooh, more coming. All right. Speaking of these important psychic insights and really tunneling down to your subconscious and figuring out what your divine feminine wisdom has to say, let's see about the root body subconscious level. Oh, this 5 of Air is back. This unwise choice. Learn what you can from this situation. Review everyone's motives. Well, hell. Yeah. When we were talking about this card before, we're talking about this human number, this 5, which, we saw the 5 streams, which talk about the 5 senses. Humans are very 5-oriented. We've got 5 fingers. We've got 5 digits on each of our 5 major, we've got 5 digits on our hands and feet, and we have 5 major appendages. Appendages. We have 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head. And so that makes us very sort of star-shaped, the 5-pointed star. 5 is a number that I like to call the halfway there number. It's the being stuck in the middle of process. You can see these unicorns are sort of at odds with each other. You can imagine them either gossiping or arguing or just kind of, talking being at cross purposes with each other. And this sort of unwise choice that we as a collective have made to pursue the avenues of not happiness, pursue the avenues of criticism, of hatred for the other, of demonization of other people's beliefs, of, getting mine at the expense of everybody else. So this is a very human problem that we're dealing with. And this being at the root level means that some of us, again, have these fears that are holding us back. And it's just not a very wise. I mean, when we talk about wisdom, air cards are all about the mind. And to be wise, to not be a reactionary person who just knee-jerk reacts to things and blows things out of proportion and reacts with, say, revenge when somebody hurts you, and doesn't stop to think, oh, well, why? Why did that person do that thing? And maybe look for more information, or doesn't stop to say, if I react with revenge and in a knee-jerk fashion, will this just simply continue the spiral of pain? Who is going to stop this cycle, of being unwise in that way? And unwise choices, I talked about last time, could mean that we have put our faith in people who do not have our best interests at heart. And this being at the body subconscious level now, this really feels like not only our safety as a human race, there are lots of issues now with toxins in the environment and problems with our food, and maybe corporations that don't have our best interests at heart, making unwise choices to buy into those things and to trust those things and to say, oh, well, if we just let them do what they want, it'll still turn out good for us, right? And this, again, being in the root level, could have to do with our entire planet. The fact that we have not been paying attention to the well-being of planet Earth, and now it's starting to actually rise up and bite us. The climate, the natural disasters that have been happening all through 2017 and into 2018, the planet is fighting back. Speaking of, divine feminine rising and events that have been going on behind the scenes, the planet may be trying to let us know that she's had enough of the status quo and how we've been going about things. And we really need to review everyone's motives and to really get everything on the table. And this is very Jupiter in Scorpio energy. Ever since Jupiter went into Scorpio, you've been hearing a lot about people's dirty laundry just coming out in the news, like scandals and the thrust of the Me Too movement and all of the stuff that is being now brought into the light, and investigations of very high-level people for really shady things. This being in that root level it's a very scorpionic place to be. And so we're in the midst of that cleaning out and releasing those fears, because the things that have been hidden have to be dragged into the light. We've got to learn what we can from this situation and review everybody's motives before we're going to trust anyone or anything to be good for us going forward. And we really want to pull back from these unwise choices that we've made, this putting our heads in the sand, this maybe not taking action when we needed to. Great. I think I will clarify this card just because I want a little more from the guides about this, and whether or not they can give us some aid, or whether or not we've got to focus on a specific thing about this. Let's see what's in the help position, because, this is not a fun thing to have at root level. This is a kind of survival fear, and we need to release fears that hold us back. So let's see if this little aid card can help us do that. All right. The Emperor, Archangel Michael, organization and logic, structure and discipline, leadership. Yeah. Well, here we are. This is Archangel Michael, the big daddy of all the angels, in his position as divine masculine ruler. This is the card of kingship, the card of stewardship of the world, of good divine masculine examples that we should be following. 4 is a foundational number. It is that number that I like to talk about of when you have 4 legs on a table or 4 legs on a chair, you feel really grounded and like you can put your weight on that object, like it's a good platform for you to rest yourself on, something that's trustworthy, not an unwise choice. And it can also be, because it's like 4 can be that 4 cardinal direction thing, and also the 4-spoked wheel of the planet. So this can be a really stable. It really points to planet Earth. It really points to our concerns, our earthly concerns on planet Earth. And to be able to have a firm foundation in organization and logic that can help us possibly overcome this knee-jerk reactionary 5 of air monkey mind cycle that we have been previously stuck in. And this organization and logic, structure and discipline can really help us review everybody's motives. So it could be related to the stuff that's going on the world stage, where there are a lot of people in authority who are now having to answer for some crap that they've been doing behind the scenes, events behind the scenes, and having to own up and sort of face the music and get disciplined about things. This also can point to our own lives. I've been talking a lot about world stage issues, and I've been talking about sort of collective stuff, but this being in the help position means that we could all do with a lot of this. We could all do with a good dose of organization and logic. And this, again, feels like Saturn in Capricorn. This also feels, frankly, like Sun in Aquarius, because air signs, and hopefully as an antidote to this toxic air card here, air signs that are centered, that are that know themselves, that are heart-based, are really good at this. This ability to step back, almost take that, if you're a Star Trek fan, that kind of Vulcan approach to just really not taking it personally, not taking things personally, taking a bird's eye view of something and seeing, does this really serve us? Are we taking actions that really serve us, that will allow us to make long-term plans like Saturn and Capricorn wants to do? So this is what can help us on our journey here. The 4 being the planetary number also points to that feeling that I was getting about taking a more planetary approach to things, really taking that organization, logic, and structure and discipline and leadership, and really thinking about the planet as a whole, thinking about all of us here on planet Earth, and thinking about also planet Earth herself, and whether or not we are now taking actions and choosing to adopt belief systems and habits of behavior that will be sustainable in the long run for all of us. Yeah. So that's a really good help card after this kind of crazy 5 of air. Let's see where the overall direction that the collective is sort of headed. Oh, yay. Back from the heart position last time, this 6 of earth, gifts of money, time, or effort, new career opportunities, receiving a loan, or paying off debts. Beautiful. Yeah, this 6 of earth, remember I was talking about the powwow, the planetary powwow that was happening in Capricorn, and this was, all about how do we bring love? The 6 is the number of love in numerology, and it's very motherly energy. And this also could point to the energy of this full moon eclipse, because you've got Venus involved, and her areas are not only being sexy and sensual, but also about money and fortune and abundance. You've also got Ceres Ceres in there. And she's the grain mother. She is literally the earth goddess who feeds us and who makes abundant things happen and supports us through our endeavors. And this balancing act here. You can't miss these scales here. And this always points to this very Libra energy, and possibly this idea, and I said this last time, that something culminating out of this beautiful direction that we're moving could show itself to us by the time that the season of Libra rolls around, autumn equinox time this year. Been really kind of getting a push that way because this next eclipse cycle is going to be really pivotal in sort of bringing about some closure to the directions that we've been moving in. And the next eclipse cycle will take us sort of into this part of the year. So be looking ahead in your life. If you're making those long-term plans, be looking ahead to this autumn to see possibly tangible results coming from the plans that you're making. And maybe the first real earthly stepping stone to stuff that you're really trying to manifest. Yeah, beautiful. This balancing act, I want to, again, relate it to the full moon eclipse because you've got Venus and Juno and the sun in Aquarius. And then you have the moon and Ceres. But you've also got this interesting thing going on where I was going to talk about Neptune, and this is my perfect opportunity to do it. The moon and Ceres are forming an aspect that I don't really usually talk about in the astrology section because it's just kind of hard to explain. It's called a quincunx. You've got, I've talked about conjunctions, I've talked about oppositions, I've talked about trines and squares, and I usually talk about sextiles too. But a quincunx is this weird kind of, it's a slippery aspect in astrology. And if you can imagine the wheel of the zodiac, all of these signs going around in 360 degrees, a quincunx is not a 180 opposition, but it's like 150 degrees between two planets. And the moon and Ceres are quincunx to Neptune for this full moon eclipse, or for this lunar eclipse on the full moon. I should stop calling it the full moon eclipse because all lunar eclipses happen on full moons. But yes, so the moon and Ceres are balanced also against Neptune in this very weird quincunx relationship. And a quincunx is kind of a tension. It's kind of an underlying tension of, can you pull this off? It's almost like you're really pushing the car around the bend as fast as it can go, and the wheels are really shaking, and you're not quite sure if you're going to lose it. And the thing that stands between victory and catastrophe is your ability to hang on to that control, that like hair-splitting control of your own destiny. And so this lunar eclipse, Ceres and the moon are quincunx Neptune, and Neptune, astrologers talk about Neptune as being the higher octave or the higher level of the moon's energy. So if the moon is like your deepest instincts and your emotional life and everything, Neptune is like your spiritual, transpersonal dissolving of the self into the cosmic ocean. It's like the depth, the deep, dark womb of the universe, the deepest divine feminine place that you can go. And I've said this before, Neptune, yes, in mythology is a male god, but Neptune also really does symbolize that divine feminine, the ocean of the cosmos, the Atman that the spirit will dissolve into eventually when it goes home to heaven. And so when you have this eclipse sort of teetering and balancing, this theme of balance is huge, and it's been huge with us for just quite a few readings from back last year when we were talking about the Great American Solar Eclipse to this year when we're talking about the lunar eclipse and the end of this cycle. Balancing, and definitely about balancing divine feminine with divine masculine, and also balancing your worldly needs, money, time, effort, and your new career opportunities, all the stuff, all of the where's my stuff instincts of your worldly stuff, and your spiritual, higher mind, deep fulfillment on a soul level. And that's in there too. That deep, nameless, dark, divine feminine, like great Devi of the universe is in there too for this eclipse. And on top of that, I know I'm getting really esoteric here, and I hope you're bearing with me because there's just a lot in this eclipse. This eclipse is just fully loaded. Not only is it happening where all of these divine feminine aspects from everywhere are being brought in, but at the degree that it's at in Leo, we've got it's around 11 degrees of Leo versus 11 degrees of Aquarius. You know, sun over in Aquarius, moon over in Leo, and it's conjunct the north and the south nodes. And the north and the south nodes are these very poorly understood by lay people concepts in astrology, where the moon has an orbit and the moon's orbit is not circular, so it's more elliptical. And the nodes are these points, these hypothetical points in the moon's orbit where it crosses the path of what people call the ecliptic. And the ecliptic is sort of the plane of the galaxy and where all the line of where all the constellations are. And so where these two imaginary lines cross, you have what are called the north and the south nodes. And in astrology, the north node talks about our destiny and sort of where we're going as a soul family. And the south node talks about concepts that we maybe should have already mastered and integrated into ourselves. So you have the North Node with the Moon and Ceres, trying to integrate the aspects of femininity that do not have anything to do with relating to male structures of power. And then you have the South Node hanging out with the divine feminine aspects that are kind of more related to structuring our identities around relating to the male power structure. And then you have Neptune hanging out way over here in left field, sort of adding this tension of, are we going to fulfill our divine destiny as goddesses? Divine feminines out there, are we going to be goddesses? Can we really manifest our full goddess nature into this world and make it work for us and get it all? And live not only as spiritual goddess beings, but as abundant earthly beings. Can we balance all of this? And this is a big question for this eclipse. Huge, huge. Okay, I really want to clarify this. I know this is getting long, so I am going to just take a card for the Five of Air, just if my guides will be good to me. They'll give me just a little more on the Five of Air. They're like, we gave you the Emperor. What more do you want? And we're like, well, it would just be nice to get a little... Okay, here's one. Yeah. Okay, so they're giving us more information about this unwise choice. It's another 5. So it's competing goals, bothersome details, and conflict with others. That's our unwise choice. The conflict with others is the unwise choice. And continuing to engage in the conflict. And yes, I know I've been saying all this stuff is being dredged out from the depths on the world stage. And there's battles, historic legal battles going on that really needed to happen. They did. And they do. And I'm going to validate that forever until the cows come home. But on a larger scale, on a larger world scale, this conflict with others, all of these problems that we are now dealing with, that are now needing to be dragged out of their dark hiding places and be shown in the light and be torn down from their positions of power, this is talking about the fact that this has been, conflict with others has been the underlying reason for all of this. If certain members of our society, whether that be based on race or sexual orientation or sex or, economic position, if certain members of humanity, of the human family, were not demonized and did not have to be, designated as less than, then we would not find ourselves in this place. if there were a place at the table for everyone to be beautiful, if everyone were accepted as their divine self, and everyone, was in balance of, in this world, being able to contribute and getting their just desserts, getting what they need and the resources that they want to be happy. If everyone could have equal opportunity for that, then we would not find ourselves here. And so the guides are letting us know the underlying reason for this problem. This is still the help, so don't worry too much about this being too negative here at the bottom. They're just giving us more detail on this problem. So this energy, this fear, comes from the fear of other people being different from us, that other people have power over us, that other people can take something away from us when they really can't. The inside joke of this card that I really, really love is that you see these wands here and they're at cross purposes with each other, and you can see them in this impasse position where it seems like nothing can happen and no good can come of this. And yet here is this wand, and this wand is us. This is us as a sovereign individual. And if this wand just moved forward in its life, didn't think so much about what everybody else is doing and worry so much and come from a fear-based place about what everyone else is doing, this wand would just move forward, and these haters or these opposition people would just fall over. If the whole world tomorrow or today decided that it was just going to stop fighting, that people weren't fighting anymore, oh, we're just not doing that fighting thing anymore, we're not doing that war thing, we're not doing that demonizing of others thing anymore, we would come into this love-based, balanced place of maybe, now what do we do? Well, now maybe we have to cooperate. And they want us to know, fire-based card, again, about fiery passion and alchemical change. So this card is actually funny because it's an inside joke, and it's letting us know that we do have the power to transform this situation by using our spiritual, deep gut, subconscious, root level wisdom that comes from our alchemical fire, that we can transform the situation simply by refusing to engage anymore. Now, that doesn't mean we shouldn't stand up like those two hero figures for things that really need to happen and change in the world. But it does mean that we should we should not take it personally anymore, and get our fear-based minds out of the game. If we came at it from a courage-based place, or an organization and logic, structure and discipline-based, if we really led, if we were real leaders, we would walk away from the chaotic, warlike stupidity that's been going on in the past, and we could find a new way of doing things, maybe that could balance things for everyone. Very cool. So yes, the guides just want us to know this unwise choice place that we find ourselves in comes from our continuing need to engage in conflict with others and to demonize others and to call people wrong and to say, oh, well, there's no collaborating with them. They just need to be excised from my experience. If those people didn't exist, then I'd be happy. But maybe that's just not a way to do it anymore. And for those of you in personal situations who have these crazy makers, just walk away. And if you can't physically walk away, mentally or spiritually or emotionally walk away, disengage. Take the hook out of you that makes you want to keep fighting. Find a deeper truth for yourself. And focus on the joyful things that are working. And one day these people will just fade away. They'll just, these wands will just fall over behind you, and they'll wonder where you went. And you'll be like, oh, I'm over here. I'm over here on the fun side of the planet where things work and I get mine, and divine feminine and divine masculine archetypes are balanced, and everyone is included in the journey. Look at this beautiful progression here in the center. So good. Okay, this is long and I'm sorry, but I'm going to do some shortcuts. It's really profound because the full moon and the eclipse energy is just super, super transformative, especially for divine feminine. I'm so very excited about that. What do I want to do? Let's do the goddess deck, since we're talking about divine feminine. All right, those of you who have not seen my shortcut process before, it's a quick and dirty 3-card spread, and I just came up with the process for myself. The first part in that process is to just see what's on the bottom. Rhiannon, sorceress. You are a magical person who can manifest your clear intentions into reality. Well, yeah. All these divine feminine aspects, the moon, the star, Neptune, Ceres, Juno, Venus, whatever divine feminine aspect you want to manifest. And look, you've got the moon peeking in here from the top. Gorgeous. That card doesn't really need more explanation. We talked about manifesting. We talked about focusing. We talked about your ability to focus on beautiful things happening and ignore this stuff to engage your divine royal leadership and your higher mind, to focus on the things that matter and to manifest the outcome that you really, really want. Great. You are a magical person and you can do it. You can manifest your intentions into reality. Beautiful. Whoop. And the cards want to escape as I cut. Sarasvati, the arts. Express yourself through creative activities. Absolutely. Yet another beautiful divine feminine archetype. Sort of has this Jophiel energy in her about making things beautiful. Taking that artistic approach. This can also be Neptune energy too, because you can see her with this lotus pond, very spiritual. Sometimes if you've got this craziness going on, sometimes the best way to get out of that situation is to focus on the things that you want to create. Even if you haven't manifested even one other person to see what you're doing and to see validity in what you're doing yet, if you're gratified by it, if you love it, even if nobody else gets it, but you get joy out of it, spending time doing this and putting yourself in a joy-based place in your heart can really transform any crazy-making energies in your life. And even if you don't have that much time to do it, scrape together 5-10 minutes to work on something that you really, really love. Even if that's just a quiet, meditative activity that you resonate with. Express yourself through creative activities. We're all here to create. We're divine creators, and we derive the life force of the universe from creating things. And it's a heck of a lot better than being stuck here. And sometimes creative activities can really be creating you as a person. Remember I talked about, in the astrology section about you're going to want on that Venus-Uranus day to maybe reinvent your new look or do something to make your life beautiful. Maybe upgrade the feng shui of your living space. Even small things. Maybe trying a new hairstyle or a new color of lipstick, whatever it is that you want to do, express yourself. You are the art piece in the end, and you're a magical person who can manifest your intentions. Beautiful. Oh, wow, look at this one. Kali, endings and beginnings. The old must be released so that the new can enter. Look at that. Release fears that hold you back. Look at this dark. This is what I meant by that Neptune quincunx. This is the energy of like the deep unknown, the deep dark goddess in the center of everything. This almost feels like that lunar eclipse here, but this could also be like the event horizon of a huge black hole that, is at the center of our galaxy. The unknown. And the unknown can be scary, and those fears that hold us back can really not want us to release the old ways of being. But something new has to happen before we're able to move into the world beyond this crazy and move into a world that's more balanced and where people get what they deserve. Beautiful. So Kali, the deep, dark, sometimes very scary divine feminine, here to let us know that we must move forward without fear and release. And here again, that how deep is your capacity for change? Like, how big can the change be before you reject it out of fear? That's a big question to be asking ourselves here when we're talking about manifesting this new future. And the fact that endings and beginnings is a big metaphor for any eclipse. An eclipse is sort of like that cutoff point, that the reset of releasing what doesn't serve us from the old way, from the old time, and completely reinventing it into something that serves us on all levels. Yeah, for some of you who are of that deep spiritual Neptunian bent, this full moon may be a good time for you to go inside and really, really commune with that original divine feminine archetype, which is the womb of creation from which we all came. Beautiful. All right. Any of you other tarot readers who would like to use my quick cross spread? I know it doesn't look like a cross because we have these clarification cards here. And my, it's gone out of my head. The shortcut process. You're more than welcome to do so. You just need to attribute these spreads to me, Izobel Freeman, and cut and paste the information, the attribution information from my page at shinyallthetime.com/cc. It's shinyallthetime.com/cc because I've made these spreads available through Creative Commons license. So CC stands for Creative Commons. And you just need to go there and cut and paste the attribution information into your project or your video description, and you're totally allowed to use these spreads. Okay, what to do now? I'm torn between doing the butterfly cards and the energy deck. You know what? This energy deck is really, really awesome. And I haven't used it in a while. And it's got this divine feminine, amazing energy to it. Yes. So this is... It also just feels very lunar in its vibration. Very cool. Okay. So let's shortcut from this. Oh my goodness, people. What's going on? Goddess of the Moon. 52, in this case, reduces to a 7, which is the 7 of divine fortune. The 17 reduces to an 8, which is our divine nature, our eternal nature. 7 is that lucky number. You know how 7 is a lucky number in many cultures, and 7 stands for the non-physical chains of causality that bring what we want into our lives. I like to call it the stupid, unexplainable luck that happens to some people. And you know those people in your lives, so that everything always seems to work out for those people. And you just don't know why. You're like, oh, why does everything work out for you? I don't get it. So yeah, Goddess of the Moon. I don't think she needs any more explanation. She's here in all of her aspects for this full moon. Not only Venus, the beautiful, seductive, wealthy, sort of girlfriend archetype, or the paramour of, it's the ideal for the divine masculine, usually is Venus or Aphrodite. And you've got Juno, the wifely figure who guarantees happiness in marriage if she's in a good place in your chart, supposedly. And you've got Ceres, which is the nurturing, mothering aspect, and the moon for instinct and emotion. And you've got Neptune, this Kali energy. I'm so glad Kali showed up, because that was exactly the metaphor that I was looking for, the archetype that I was looking for. So do you need any more confirmation? You viewers who are looking at how to integrate your divine feminine and how you're going to manifest her going forward in the world. Goddess of the moon here to guide us. Oof, this eclipse is huge. Okay. Third chakra, Archangel Chamuel. This is that golden solar, so you've got, again, this solar emperor energy. Chamuel is that angel that guides you through sort of the transformations in your life. 37 reduces to a 10, or it adds to a 10 and then reduces to a 1 because you collapse the 0 and the 1, and it is the singular, the original. This is about you and getting yours. This is very much that solar, outwardly faced, how I shine in the world energy. And this is that energy of taking power. Remember that card in the shortcut we got where it's safe to take your power and exercise it in constructive ways in the world? This feels, again, like taking that divine feminine energy and balancing it with a healthy divine masculine solar energy so that we can have both, so that we can have the inner life and the holy and the spiritual, and we can have the outer life of the successful and the admired and the loved in the public type of energy. And this is that personal power. This also feels like that Mercury conjunct or sextile Mars going on. So we're going to get that boost forward of really feeling that personal power. Good stuff. This is, again, safe to take our power in the world. All right, man holding a coin. More money. This earth stuff coming forward, knowing that, frankly, if we engage all of humanity, if we start giving the divine feminine her just desserts, there is going to be so much abundance. When women feel appreciated and able to create on an equal footing, it creates abundance for everyone. And, you men out there who are looking at this brave new world of crazy feminine stuff going on out there on the world stage, it's going to be good for you too. I promise. It's going to be good for everyone. And this 43 reduces to another 7. This is another lucky 7. So you've almost got this balance here. You've got this divine masculine earthly reality that is manifested from balancing through the third chakra, the power structure, the personal power chakra, and balancing these two, this sort of non-physical energy and this very physical energy, and polarized in the divine feminine, divine masculine directions, but through this power chakra and through the alchemical power of transformation. Chamuel talks about, Chamuel is this guidance that we get when we're going through some crap. The support that we get that will let us know that things are going to turn out okay for all parties concerned. Beautiful. 2 lucky 7s with number 1, you, in the center, knowing that you're lucky in both worlds and you're going to get yours. Beautiful. I can't believe this. This is just amazing. All right. Okay, this is usually the point in the reading where I talk about the fact that any of these card decks, these gorgeous decks that I've been using, if you'd like to purchase them, I do have a resources page at shinyallthetime.com. It's shinyallthetime.com/resources. And if you do purchase a card deck from my resources page, it does, a certain percentage does come back to me to help me make more of these videos, to help me pay for my website and do little, chores like that to keep this content coming for those of you who enjoy it. Just so you know, you will not pay any more for the decks if you purchase them through my resources page, but that is a small way that you can support me if you would like to. And if you do purchase a deck through shinyallthetime.com/resources, I thank you in advance. All right. Okay, let's finish this up by doing our Angel Answers card. My goodness, such an amazing, so much energy going on. Remember how last time we got this Yes card? And this time we've got the Yes with an exclamation point card. And isn't there something wonderful and fulfilling and frankly orgasmic about having yeses in succession? And this one with the exclamation point. And it's not lost on us that we've got sun and moon coming together for the lunar eclipse to culminate the eclipse season that included the amazing Great American Solar Eclipse and all of that crazy energy coming forth in this divine feminine form. With these rainbows, with the beautiful star of inspiration above her head, star of creativity and the higher mind, and the rainbows signifying all the chakras aligned, but also signifying everyone on the planet, no matter what you look like, no matter where you came from, no matter how much money you have or how you identify in the world sexually. Everyone has an equal place at the table, and all of our pistons are firing as a collective. And here we get ours. And here's the balance again. Gorgeous. Look at that. And this giant yes. So whatever it is, make a wish, folks. Those of you who did make a wish for new moon, congratulations, because the star is on your side. You've got the emperor, so divine feminine, divine masculine, beautiful archetypes, tons of archangels. You know, the energy card's letting you know that you have the power through your solar plexus, through your power center to manifest this, and that you deserve it, and that the sun and the moon are going to be balanced, these energies. So good. And the goddess cards with Kali letting us know that, you know, it's time to release fears that hold you back, move into the future as a fully realized, balanced, divine being. And that, as the Rhiannon card says, you have the power to manifest that which you desire. And it will be an earthly, physical, satisfying, as well as a spiritual, magical experience. Answer's yes, folks. Don't worry about this. Take your eye off of this and put it on Make a Wish. Feel like this as much as you can over the next few weeks. You're going to start to see results. Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to finish up with our fun and bubbly and, you know, silly victory reward dice. Awesome. Let's see. I'm closing my eyes. I'm going to see which one that we want, that we get from the universe, and how should we celebrate? All right, everyone. They say, add to your tan. And I realize that, you know, for some of you, it's cold outside right now. This is just letting us know that we should get outside more. If we can, if it's possible. Maybe if you can't get outside, maybe bask in a sunbeam. Maybe we need some more of that solar golden light energy for that third chakra power. This is just pointing to letting some more of that bright light into your life. Whatever that means to you. If this means go out and actually add to your tan, if you're in a place where it's warm enough to do this, you know, go out and enjoy a sunny day. For those of you for whom it's cold, sunbeam inside. Or getting outside even if it's cold. Spending time in nature, touching the planet. Mother Earth wants us to remember that she's in this too. She's the one casting the shadow. She's the one getting between the sun and the moon. She's the pivot point. All the change that we want to have happen happens here on planet Earth. This is the pivot. And so if we want to achieve balance, we have to do it here on Earth. So get outside, enjoy nature, touch a tree, take a little walk, but get out there and start to appreciate things and look for things that are beautiful and see if things don't change for you. Cards say yes. Awesome. Well, this lunar eclipse is going to be universe changing. It's astounding the amount of energy that is coming up from this. I hope many of you got individual messages as well for yourself. Sometimes we get a giant blast of collective energy, and sometimes we get a little more individual stuff, but this one definitely a collective game changer with this divine femininely charged lunar eclipse. Beautiful. All right. Those of you who would like your own readings, I do have a services page at shinyallthetime.com, shinyallthetime.com/services. I provide many types of readings, so go there, take a look at what's there. If something resonates, I am more than happy to serve you in any way that you order off of that page. Also, I don't mention this very often, but for those of you who do want to get more out of this week's or this next 2 weeks reading, I do have a newsletter, and the newsletter has it allows me to make announcements to you, to be more personal if I need to announce something, and also to explain some of these cards, the major arcana and the court cards that we get in spreads, to give you some more information about how they relate to the spread and to you. So if you're interested in that, go to shinyallthetime.com/newsletter, or you can sign up in the little sidebar for the newsletter on any shinyallthetime.com page. Thank you so very much for joining me for this reading. I know it's been huge and long, but so much information. The moon card popped up twice and she made me have to explain everything about everything. So thank you for being patient. I hope you get outside, enjoy nature, get out there, whatever this means to you, reward yourself by touching the planet in some beautiful way and getting out in the light of the gorgeous sun, and enjoy this astounding eclipse, because it really is. It's world changing, and I'm so excited for what it might mean for the future. So gorgeous. Thank you again. Please like, share, subscribe, stay shiny, and I will see you next time.